You wake up with the sensation of something watching you. You try to move, but your body is frozen. It's not sleep. Your eyes are open. You can see a room, but you're not alone. Something is crouched at the edge of your bed, thin limbs stretched like a spider. Its gray skin glistens in the moonlight, stretched taut over bones. Hollow black eyes bore into yours. You want to scream, but nothing comes out. Then it speaks. In a raspy whisper, it says your name. And that's the last thing you remember before screaming starts. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Or if it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. My name is Andrew, and sometimes I'm not so good at talking. Today, we're diving into the Rake. It's a pretty cool creepypasta. The way it looks physically reminds me a lot of like classic depictions of the Wendigo. Gray skins, taut, hairless, jagged teeth. It looks like traditional Wendigo from like Algonquin folklore. It's not. It's supposedly its own different thing, but there's a lot of similarities. I'm not going to go into them in this video, maybe further on down the road, but yeah. So go grab a drink, go grab something to snack, maybe some popcorn, and we're going to get into it. What is the Rake? The Rake is a creature of nightmares, literally. It is often described as pale, emaciated, hairless, and naked, with sunken black eyes, long arms, and jagged claws. Witnesses, fictional and otherwise, claim it moves on all fours like a beast, but its face is unmistakably human. Its signature behavior: it watches you, often from your bedroom doorway, sometimes at the foot of your bed. Victims are typically paralyzed, forced to endure its presence until it decides to speak, or worse. But what makes the Rake truly horrifying isn't just how it looks. It's how it appears during sleep paralysis, and how the stories surrounding it feel just plausible enough to keep you up at night. The earliest documented reference of the Rake appeared in 2005 on the Something Awful forums. There's a through line with the Something Awful forums in every creepypasta. It seems like almost all of them originate from there. Something Awful forums, a breeding ground for digital horror. It was a part of a collaborative effort to create fictional monsters that felt like it belonged in ancient folklore. The effort began with user Brian Somerville, who posted a series of fictional reports, diaries, media snippets centered around a creature that stalks its victims in their sleep. These entries were meant to feel like found lore, a tactic also used to great success with Slender Man in 2009. The post eventually ended with this line, quote, "He stood over my bed and I was frozen in fear. He spoke my name, then vanished. I haven't slept since," unquote. Original forum post Something Awful 2005, archived via Creepypasta Wiki. There you go. See, look at that. We cited a source. I've been yelled at every once in a while. Somebody gets uppity and yells at me about sources, and I'm like, why? Why? There you go. Here's the source. In 2006, a more formalized story was published by user Brian Somerville, which collected fictional accounts dating back to the 12th century. This included a mariner's log in 1691, a Spanish journal from 1880, a note from 1964, and a rural New York woman's 2006 account. Quote, "I have experienced the greatest terror. I see his eyes when I close mine. They are hollow, black. They saw me and pierced me. I will not sleep. His voice," and then it's unintelligible, unquote. S note, RakeMythosCreepypasta.com. These fabricated documents gave the illusion of ancient lore. The trick worked. Soon, forums like 4chan, X, and Creepypasta Wiki, YouTube horror communities began treating the Rake as part of a real paranormal culture. The rake is often linked to sleep paralysis. The rake is often linked to sleep paralysis, a terrifying but real phenomenon where a person wakes during REM sleep and cannot move. Hallucinations, both visual and auditory, are common during sleep paralysis. Many people report a dark figure watching them, sitting on their chest or standing by their bed. The Hat Man, I believe, is also a sleep paralysis thing. I've never experienced sleep paralysis myself, so I can't hop into that. I don't sleep that well. I wake up every hour or so, and then fall back to sleep like 5 minutes later. So that's been me ever since I've been an adult. According to a 2018 study in Frontiers in Psychology, over 20% of the global population will experience sleep paralysis in their lives. Some report seeing a shadowy humanoid figure. Others describe faces, whispers, or screams, which would be absolutely terrifying. I'm sorry to anybody who has experienced sleep paralysis and gone through this kind of stuff. That's crazy. Sleep paralysis illustrated in great effect in the Hill House series on Netflix. Nell, I think is her name, the character Nell. She suffers from sleep paralysis, and she always sees the bent neck lady when she's in sleep paralysis. Spoiler alert. Turns out the bent neck lady is actually just her, and she's already dead, and Hill House can bend time and space. Crazy, but that's a pretty good explanation of sleep paralysis in that show. You know, you wake up, you can't move your body, you can't scream, you can't anything, and you see stuff. So the rake embodies this phenomenon, turning a shared biological glitch into a malevolent presence. Quote, the sensation of being watched during sleep paralysis is so common that entire cultures have built mythologies around it. The rake is simply the internet's modern response. Unquote. Dr. Barry Coben, sleep researcher, Paranormal Psychology, Today, 2017. One of the best known rake stories is a 2006 creepypasta written by a contributor using the name Brian. It presents itself as a journal entry from a grieving mother. Take this as Brian Somerville again. He seems to be the driving force behind the rake mythos. Quote, 3 years ago, I woke up in the middle of the night. My husband was crying. He said he'd seen something at the foot of the bed. Later that night, I saw it too. It sat, hunched and naked, watching us. I couldn't move, unquote. And then, quote, the next morning, our daughter was dead. Her throat was ripped out. My husband committed S 2 weeks later. I've since moved, changed my name, but he still comes. Last night, I heard him say my name, unquote. Creepypasta.com/The Rake by Brian from 2006. This story is fictional, but it launched a wave of online accounts, role plays, and sightings that spread across YouTube, Reddit, and even local news hoaxes. The story has been re-recorded, animated, and narrated hundreds of times. The Rake is frequently featured in fan-made video games like The Rake, For Survival, and The Rake Back to the Asylum. YouTube horror ARGs such as Everyman Hybrid and Tribe 12, where it sometimes overlaps with the Slenderverse. Creepy TikTok videos where users claim to encounter the creature in woods or basements. And Reddit's r/nosleep and r/paranormal, where modern accounts of pale humanoids or faceless watchers often evoke the Rake, even when not named directly. Because its design is so minimalist, just pale skin, long limbs, and black eyes, it's easy to reinterpret in games, short films, and fictions. Despite how convincing some stories may sound, the Rake is entirely fictional, created intentionally in early 2000s and propagated by creepypasta authors and horror fans. Still, there are reports from rural areas of crawlers, then humanoid figures described in a way that overlaps with the Rake. The missing 411 cases, crawlers of Appalachia, and various Skinwalker Ranch sightings have similar themes: pale creatures, dark forest, and night attacks. And I also stated that it appears much like the Wendigo of Algonquin folklore. But experts warn against tying real trauma to fictional beasts. Quote, "We often project the unknown onto existing cultural fears. The Rake is the internet's Wendigo. It's Hat Man, but it's a mirror, not a monster." Unquote. Dr. Alan Carter, cultural anthropologist, Digital Folklore Review 2019. So, is the Rake real? No. But the fear behind it is. Every story, every drawing, every whispered name in the dark. It speaks to something inside us all. The fear that we are not alone in the dark. That something watches and maybe waits. And if you ever wake up at 3:33 a.m. and can't move, and there's something crouched in your doorway, just remember, don't look it in the eyes. Unless it's your kid. Then, look it in the eyes, tell it to go back to bed. But because it already knows your name. I'm Andrew, and this has been Legends Untold. You've probably noticed that I have changed the name to Legends Untold. It didn't really have a name before. We just called them stories. They now have a name. It's Legends Untold. I'm trying to differentiate it from the stories. Like, as you can probably tell, the stories have shortened up dramatically from what they were. It's insanely hard to write long stories like that for everyday uploads. That's just how it is. I'm trying to get back to everyday uploads. It seems to do better for the algorithm if I do everyday uploads. So that's just what we're trying now. I'm sorry. I know you guys love the stories, but I've dialed them back just a little bit. We're trying stuff out right now, trying to see what's going on with it. So yeah, we're going to see how it works out. And then, if I could get back into longer stories, I will, absolutely, because I love doing the longer stories for you guys. But anyways, if you like the video, the like button, smash it, send it into outer space, comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Rake. Let me know if there's any other creatures like the Rake. I know there's one called the Flesh Gate, which is kind of similar as well. I might do a dedicated video on that. I know Lore Lodge has a pretty good video about the Rake and the Flesh Gate. I might link that below. Lore Lodge is a great channel. If you like mine, you will absolutely love Lore Lodge if you're not already subscribed to Lore Lodge. But yeah, let me know down below what you think of the Rake. And if you want to support the channel, there's a merch bar down there somewhere below the video. There's also a PayPal link up in my bio if you want to buy me an energy drink. I always appreciate that. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, everyone.